Greetings and welcome to another episode of The School of Life. Today I would like to reason about the etiquette of the road. When I speak about the etiquette of the road, I'm talking both about the law and common courtesy. I'd like to begin with uphill right-of-way. Now, when you live on a narrow road or you're driving on a narrow road, you often come into contact with another driver who is traveling the opposite direction. When you're living on a hill, in particular, there's a common courtesy, which is also the law, by the way, that you allow the person who is going uphill the right of way. You give them free passage, which means if you're coming downhill, you need to either stop and or get over as far as you reasonably can so that the person who is driving uphill may drive unimpaired up the hill. It is completely unsafe to back down a hill. Brakes are best used in the forward direction, so when you're backing down a hill and trying to rely on your brakes, you're less effective and you can end up getting yourself into a bit of a situation. So, as the driver who is driving downhill, please remember to get over to the side and allow that uphill driver to continue his or her way up the hill while they're driving, and know that if you ever got into an accident with somebody, that they would have the right of way and they would win the case automatically. The next subject I'd like to discuss is sharing the road. When I say sharing the road, I'm talking specifically about bicycles and automobiles sharing the road. In the state of California, it is a law that motorists must allow 3 feet of space between themselves and a bicyclist while passing. Now, as a bicyclist, I take this to mean that I am supposed to move over as far to the right, allowing as much space as possible for a vehicle to pass me. Hopefully, there's enough space between the white line and the shoulder that I can actually ride my bicycle 100% behind the white line and give space to the motorist as they're passing by. As the motorist, I want to make sure that there's plenty of space for the bicyclist to have to maneuver around whatever unforeseen obstacles may be in their way that I may not see as a driver. I don't see the potholes that they're looking at necessarily. I don't necessarily see the dead animal carcasses from other drivers having hit animals on the side of the road, and I don't see all the broken glass necessarily as a driver. So I have to assume that the bicyclist will be trying to maneuver around those things. So in addition to the 3 feet of space, I'm also watching for the bicyclists in case they wiggle around something or wobble around something, or they're just like having a difficult time riding. And I don't like to go over the double yellow lines unless I have absolutely clear line of sight that there is no traffic that I would be impinging by moving my vehicle over in the roadway. Another concept I'd like to discuss with you on the etiquette of the road is distracted driving. Many drivers leave their homes and they have all these different things that they're doing with them, bringing with them to multitask as they're driving along. Instead of finding your directions and looking on a map before you leave your home, many people use their smartphone and they either say their directions or where their address that they're trying to get to of their destination, or they'll type that stuff in while they're driving, and then the smartphone will dictate whether they need to take a right turn or a left turn or whatever. And unfortunately, some drivers are very reactive instead of proactive as far as that goes, because they're not thinking about where they need to go. They're just trusting this device in their hands. It also turns out that because you're able to use your device as a navigation tool, many people use that as an excuse to have their device in their hands for other purposes, such as, well, regular phone calls, for instance, and or texting, which takes your eyes and your attention from the roadway and causes you to be a distracted driver. Being a distracted driver is equal to being a tired driver or being a drunk driver, and your reaction times are pretty non-existent, and you run the risk of being a cause for an accident. Another concept that's been very bothersome is the increase in road rage that has been taking place over the years. More and more drivers are finding themselves to be in such a hurry to get to where they're going, largely because they didn't budget enough time to get to where they're going, and other drivers seem to be taking their sweet time and our sweet time when they're driving down the roadway, whether it's because they're unfamiliar with the roadways, or they're a new driver, or they're just sightseeing, which is very common where I live. I would suggest if you have road rage that you consider giving yourself a little bit more time to get to where it is that you're trying to go to and not be in such a hurry, so that if you get behind one of these drivers who is taking their sweet time and your sweet time, that they don't actually afflict you in that negative way and cause you to go into a state of rage. On the subject of drivers taking their sweet time and our sweet time, I'd like to address a courtesy that I find to be my personal pet peeve. When I'm driving down the roadway and another motorist is driving along on the same roadway at the same direction, oftentimes I find myself catching up to them and they don't want to pull over. Now, as somebody who is an aware driver, an astute driver, I do notice when somebody is catching up to me, and if there is nobody in front of me, I know it is actually my responsibility to get out of their way so that they can continue at the rate of speed that they wish to go. You don't have to be a major mathematician to be able to figure out that if you're being caught up to that the person behind you is clearly going at a faster rate of speed, do the right thing. Get off the roadway at the first opportunity, allow them to pass by you, and then you can get back on the roadway. They're traveling at the rate of speed that they prefer. You're traveling at the rate of speed that you prefer. If, in fact, you are driving a little bit over the speed limit and another person wishes to pass you, please let them pass. There's actually a benefit to that. If you're traveling over the speed limit, you're liable to get a ticket for speeding, exceeding the speed limit. Now, if somebody else is going faster than you and you allow them to go past you, you're actually giving them the opportunity to receive that same speeding ticket, which frankly, a law officer would prefer to give to the person who's driving well over the speed limit than somebody who's going a little over the speed limit. So you're doing yourself a great favor to let that person have the opportunity to get that ticket instead of you. Anyway, I hope you found this video fascinating, interesting, fun, and enjoyable and informative. If you did, please click like down below in the comments and or leave a message. If you'd like to see more videos of this nature, please subscribe to my channel. I'm Burton Eubank, and this has been the School of Life. Bless.